Hello, and welcome to my Unreal Engine 4 project. I apologise for the setup of this at the moment. It is uh, not how I would normally present things, but I'm having a couple of issues at the moment. But here we are. This is the start point of the game. The player would have found themselves here after running out of this building after having stolen something from these very angry looking red gentlemen here. So the player there would be probably just a small cutscene or something pointing out these green towers over here. I wanted to establish a landmark fairly early on so that the player had something to work towards. Heading down here, we've got a couple of sets of stairs here. You know, they are just simple curved stairs, but the player will see out here that there are a lot of parked cars and a few more sort of enemies that have been informed. In terms of the context, I'd like to think that this is some kind of island, owned by a particular group of people, or there's a village or something that's full of a particular type of person that are all working together against the player. So the player's movement options are very limited here. They are surrounded by people. I haven't. I've wanted to keep sort of combat to a very minimal level, so I would like to potentially have maybe more of a stealth approach to the level. I just feel like that's the kind of thing that I'm quite good at creating. So there's, very few movement options. I have sort of tried to create a little bit of player direction with a different coloured light through here. I'm not sure how well that is conveyed. It'd be probably much easier if you could see me playing through it properly. But there is a ladder here that the player can climb up onto this roof. We've got a couple of searchlights in the sky. They would probably be attached to some kind of a small aircraft or drones or something that can search for the player. The player can, not necessarily needs to avoid the searchlight, but it just sort of gives the rooftop areas a bit more of a natural kind of lighting effect. I've added a few areas just to kind of highlight the way, and there would be sort of like fire exit signs and things like that would light, but otherwise there wouldn't be a great deal of point for lighting here. So this area here would have been established earlier in the level that the player's jump height, I've limited it to I'd say a fairly realistic jump height. So this jump would definitely be not possible for a player to make. And I'd hope that this level would be a little ways into the game. It wouldn't necessarily be like the opening level. It gives the player the chance to establish kind of what their their physical limitations are. So this jump would not be possible. There is, however, another ladder here. I would like the player to climb up onto it, and I've got a few things that I can't simulate while I can't play, which is frustrating. But once the player has sort of climbed up and around this ladder, it looks a little awkward here. I do need to kind of resize it and reposition it. But once they're on the other side of this ladder, they can sort of jump into it and the ladder will fall down, creating a bridge across these two walkways. These large blue blocks here, they are pushable. They are destructible meshes as well, so the player would be able to push them off this ledge. It will shatter, and also it does hit the enemy AIs. They will, get struck by this block, and they will. I've just switched on like a simple kind of ragdoll mechanic. So once this comes in contact with them, they'll just ragdoll and they'll fall down, just to simulate, you know, being knocked out, being killed, or whatever. So with that kind of, this is more of a kind of, this is the opportunity for the player to play with it. So this is just kind of here on the other side of, with the other one on the other side. This is just sort of like, if they play with it, then they'll be able to get that. This one is here for a more permanent, for a more pertinent reason, and this enemy AI, because of the issues I'm having, has sort of had to be pushed to the side a little. It would normally be stood under here where they could be hit. There would be, the player would sort of get to this ladder, see that there's an enemy down there, and then probably double back on themselves half a second just to push this off and drop that on their head. Following there, the player would come down this ladder, and again they'll be met with, you know, enemies and cars and things like that. And the cars, by the way, are just set decoration. They don't do anything. They're just sort of like to establish that this is sort of a car park in an industrial area. The player would immediately, there's this watchtower here, but they would immediately start running towards this gate, which I've just got a simple box collision timeline on that. So that would, you know, close before the player could get to it. So that would cut off the path, making the player need to change their plan. You can also see that there is a green lit helicopter in between these two landmarks here. So that is what the player is eventually aiming for. However, they have been cut off. They can't get through anywhere, so they find this little doorway here and they have to come down inside it, entering into the sewers. I wanted the sewers because I wanted like another dimension in terms of verticality, because I think jumping straight up into the rooftops is great. It gives you that dimension there, but I think having something underneath as well kind of adds an extra layer to that. So I've just sort of set dressed these a little. I've not gone too over the top. The lighting in here is a little bit harsh as well, so I apologise for that. But the player would make their way through these pipes and make their way across these areas here, and can make their way here. Now, there are some enemies on this side here, so the player would have to sort of drop down into this area here and crouch and sneak through this area, and then make their way up here, where they can climb up this final ladder, and they pop out here, and they can make their way towards the helicopter, where they've got a friend waiting for them, and they can escape. So yeah, overall, that is in essence the gameplay, and that's again all I can highlight at the moment. Sadly, hopefully I'll be able to get things sorted and be able to show off all of the mechanics that are in place and the experience itself. But yes, thank you for watching. See you later.